Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
In high school, Aiavion Edwards was a phenomenal running back. He had a monster year as a running back for Stephenville, 1,744 yards. They went on to play in the 4A quarterfinals. He was recruited at Baylor to be a linebacker with Phil Bennett, Art Briles, of course, that team that had won back-to-back Big 12 titles. And Aiavion Edwards, former Baylor linebacker, joins us on this Monday, October the 19th on SicEm365 Radio with Craig Paul, and I'm David Smoak. Aiavion, thank you for your time. We just had Phil Bennett on. So what was that conversation like when he approached you and said, we want you to play, of course, Stephenville, the connection with Coach Briles, but we want you to be a linebacker, because he said you were very receptive to that?
Oh, yes. First off, thank you guys for having me on today. It's nice to kind of catch up with you guys. It's been quite a while, so it's great to hear from you guys.
You too. So what was the conversation like? What did he say to you, and how did you handle it?
Well, just in high school, I started out on the defensive side. I was actually a safety my that first year and a half, and then some things kind of happened within the team, and needed a running back, so switched over to that side of the ball. So just generally just being recruited, I was recruited as an athlete, so I knew that most likely would be on offense. Kind of got the choice to, offense or defense for the most part, I thought. But whenever I was heading into college, having that conversation, it's kind of something that I wanted to do. Kind of those last few years of high school, dealt with a few different injuries and things like that. So I was ready to be back on that other side of the ball. So wasn't too big of a transition, and was kind of wanting to get back over there anyway.
Aiavion, he mentioned that having Eddie Lackey and Bryce Hager and some of the guys when you came here really helped you be able to adjust. How much did those guys help you transition to being a full-time defensive player?
Oh, both of those guys were just big, especially, I was coming in real young, and those guys had been there. Eddie was more just new to the team at that point, but Bryce had been around and played and, just had a great career, had his time through Baylor, and, being able to get behind those guys, find out how they prepared for games, and, just each and everything that they did, was able to kind of pick up, different things here and there, and definitely made me a better player heading into that year, heading into just my career at Baylor. Was never a linebacker, and so being able to learn from those two just, really put me a step ahead, I feel.
Aiavion, you redshirted your freshman year. Not everybody ends up doing that, obviously, but those who do talk about how much it helped them. How important was that redshirt year for you, and just what was kind of the feeling of the program at the time when you walked in? What do you remember about just sort of the energy and the expectations?
Oh, there was definitely a lot of energy. Coming off of big bowl game win, and Robert. Drafted number one, Heisman year, and things like that. So, just stepping in, I felt that, things were definitely moving along in the direction that Coach Briles had, just had a plan for. Whenever we were being recruited and things like that, we had a real big vision, and, just to see those things kind of coming into play was, awesome to see. And, that our group, that group in 2012, lots of really good players, throughout our time at Baylor. And so it was nice. And, that redshirt year, being able to, really learn that linebacker spot a little bit, and go against that a high-paced offense was it was big, because I hope you learn the speed of the game a lot, and then as well just really just kind of develop yourself into that kind of that college. The atmosphere is completely different and a lot more fast-paced than things were for coming from high school.
How dog-tired were you that first practice trying to defend that offense, and what was you going through your mind? Are you just like, really? This is what we're going to do?
Yeah, I'd always been told the game speed was a lot different, but I'm assuming at every college it is different. But when you're running a play, and then as soon as you turn around looking for the next call, and as soon as you turn around to try to get everything lined up, those guys are already snapping the ball. Definitely real difficult to pick up at the beginning, but helped out a lot, just in my time at Baylor, especially, game time, different teams that we played, Tech and things like that, play after play after play, no really time to recover. So that really helps myself and, a lot of those players at the time.
Phil Bennett was just on with us. He joins us every Monday. He said this about you. One of the best kids I ever coached. I took him because of the way he ran the football in high school. He punished people. He became a damn good linebacker, smart as a whip. When you hear him even, 3, 4 years, 5 years after you've been gone, 4 years after you've been gone, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I have a lot of respect for Coach Bennett. Especially coming in, not knowing too much about defense, and being kind of thrown in there and learning from him, and learning from those other guys around. It's that means a lot. I respect him with a lot, and just a great coach. Had a wonderful career, and that really does mean a lot.
When you're a kid from Stephenville and Art Briles comes to recruit you, is that like? Is he already kind of starting on the 10-yard line, really, as opposed to anywhere else because of how legendary he was as a high school coach there?
Yes, for sure. He's a big deal in Stephenville still to this day. And so, being recruited by Baylor, early on in high school, was able to, whenever it was kind of when Briles was able to, he was getting started there at Baylor. And so definitely was something that always was on my radar, and getting to go and see what they were building and things like that was huge. And so him coming around was always a big deal. And I was lucky. A lot of the coaches, a few coaches on our staff were still on the staff from the time that he was there. Coach Gillespie was now at Tulsa. He was there, and him and those guys were still really close. And so it was really cool to hear all this, hear a lot, and grow up seeing Coach Briles, and then finally getting to go and play for him, at the college level.
Aiavion, they're taking on Texas this week, and what are your memories, I guess, just overall of playing Texas, what that week was like, and if you have a particular game or memory? I know a lot of people point to winning that Big 12 title back at Floyd Casey, but what was your favorite memory of playing against the Horns?
We had lots of great games. I would say probably would be that Big 12 championship as well, especially against Texas. And it's always a big week when you're playing Texas. Always seem to be coming in as underdogs for the most part, and so it's always great to get out there and prove yourself. And especially with this team now, it'll be really exciting to see them kind of see how we respond from that from the game against West Virginia about 2 weeks ago.
Aiavion, there's no question that defense last year was what carried Baylor, and yes, Charlie Brewer and the offense could put up some points as well. The kicking game, special teams were good, but when you started watching them get better defensively in a different type of way, what did that mean to you as a former defensive player at Baylor, what you've seen from them and what they might end up being this year as well?
It's really exciting. I think one of the bigger things for me was, leaving and then getting to see those guys that were there when I was come around and seeing those guys kind of grow into this new defense. And it was crazy, just these past few years watching those guys fly around. It's really exciting to see, lots of times, teams can be a little bit more timid and things like that, but they have all 10, 11 guys to the ball at every play. And, that's really cool to see and just kind of see how things have progressed, over the past few years and just how the program in itself is just really kind of taken off.
What are your thoughts on Terrell Bernard individually?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. He is always around the ball. Just great leader, I think, on that field, and it's exciting to watch him each and every week. It seems like each and every play, something big could happen. It's funny to sit and watch and listen on the TV, and they'll start to talk about him, and then a player later, boom, it's a fumble, or just always making plays, and it's really exciting. I think that he is a huge part of this the success that they're having, they've had, and they will have.
You were there, as you mentioned, when you won back-to-back Big 12 titles, the first time Baylor had ever won Big 12 titles. 2015 was a team set up to perhaps have much bigger goals because of Seth Russell, because of how good you were, the new recruits. How tough was it to see that team, even though you ended up strong, to see that thing kind of fall apart in 2015 because of injuries?
That was definitely a tough year. I think, even after, things were, first off, it was just everything was set up in place. It looks like, we're headed to have a really great year. And then, lots of things kind of went into play with that. And I think actually it was here at Texas that we that kind of started a streak towards that losing during the middle part of that season, that tough side. And so it's I guess I guess for the most part, it's nice to see that, things are kind of, trending back in that right direction now.
Aiavion, let everyone know you're at Indeed, what you're doing, what kind of your role is there. I know it's kind of a job placement place, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's essentially a job search engine. I work in the sales side of it, and people are like, what do you do there? And what I do essentially is I work with the employers that are looking to bring on people, and we work on different recruitment strategies in order for them to fill their openings and things like that.
Do you ever run into Glasgow Martin? He was working at Indeed as well, right?
Yes, he was. He was there whenever I was. He was there he was here in the Austin location for I think 3 to 4 years, and since I think about a year ago, he transferred to the Scottsdale location. Yep. But yes, I would run across him a lot, and definitely was part kind of there whenever I was interviewing for the role and things like that. So it was nice to see another Bear here.
Your birthday's coming up. You have a birthday in like 5 days sometime this week. Is that correct?
Yes, it is actually on Saturday.
Oh,
so
nice.
You're not old like me where birthdays are some you just like, oh, my God, it's a birthday. It's another one. I don't know if I was going to get to it. Are you a birthday where everything that day is good in that it's a big deal to you, or do you just kind of go about your business?
I just go about my business. It's not always a big deal for me either, and this will be my 27th birthday, and so I feel like everything's kind of coming back together. Just not really. I think the years are kind of flowing together, so never really made a big deal out of it, and don't really plan to this year. Generally would go to the Baylor Texas game, but actually going to spend some time with family in Stephenville for the weekend.
Aiavion, we appreciate it. Anything else, guys?
Nope. No. Great to hear from you.
Great to hear from you. Have a great birthday as well. You were always a great go-to interview. Just like you were today. We appreciate everything you did. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. And, looking forward to a good Baylor season.
Yeah, hope so. Thanks for your time. That's Aiavion Edwards, Stephenville High School, former linebacker. He was there, think about this, in 12